Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. I'm your host, Coach Tripp. This beautiful Saturday, actually, we're recording earlier. We have a special guest, Coach Randy Putman, 35 years, is it, Coach, at Wallace Community College?
35 years at Wallace and the 6 years at Tate down in Pensacola. I've been doing it quite a time.
Holy cow, folks. Here on Coach's Corner, we try to inspire and educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. That's right, Coach Putman, career record, 1,204 wins, 560 losses, 69% winning percentage. Coach, you grew up in Birmingham, and I know you're a big Bama fan, but talk about your mom and your dad and any siblings that you had growing up.
Well, I did. I grew up in Center Point, which is right outside Birmingham, and went to Irwin High School. And my folks was very influential with me. My dad was later in life was blind, and it really inspired me to be a better person and to be a better coach. And then even when I played, but he was a great man. He was always determined to make me and my brother, who was 3 years younger than me, to allow us to have success. But at the same time, his, he wasn't a coach, but at the same time, he did inspire us. My mom was a hard worker, worked in a factory, worked on a conveyor belt. And after my father got to the point where he couldn't see, my mom was, like I said, a great mother, and miss them both. Wish they were still living. And but very influential in my life.
Wow, gosh, you where did you get your love and passion for baseball? I know your dad instilled your love for Bama football at an early age, but how did you get your love for baseball?
Well, I started playing when I was 6 years old, and I was probably, back in those days, there was no T-ball; it was just regular baseball. Mm-hmm. And I was probably the worst player in the 6 and 7 year old league. And my dad decided that, well, we got to try something. So he turned around me hitting left-handed. And then the next year I was the best player in the league. And I couldn't hit right-handed, but left-handed I was not bad. And but just in the backyard, him teaching me, the fundamentals of the game, and not only to be able to hit, but, the way to catch ground balls, fly balls, and, just a father-son relationship and he just demanded me to be my best. If I went 3 for 4, he wanted to know why I didn't go 4 for 4.
But Coach, did you play multiple sports when you were younger? And if you do you like to recruit players to Wallace that did play multiple sports?
Yeah, I played in high school. I played baseball and basketball. Was probably a better basketball player because I could shoot than I was in baseball. But I knew that my future was not going to be in basketball. I love players that play football. If every one of my players played football in high school, because there's that toughness in August, that when you're out there with your shoulder pads and your helmets, that it develops a toughness. And football's not for everybody. And I try to tell, that's okay, but it's not for everybody, because if you don't mind running into each other and colliding with each other every day, then it's a great sport for that individual. But if you don't like doing that, then football's not for you.
Coach, when you got out of high school, was your high school coach an influence on you? Did your teammates, you have a buddy that was inspiring? Did you play college baseball? I know you played 3 years in pro ball with the Royals and Padres organization, and right. I want you to talk about that experience. But how's your high school team, and what'd you do right after high school?
Well, like I said, I played at Irwin High School. Skip Bundy was my high school baseball coach, and he later became a scout with the Tampa Bay Rays, but he was very influential in teaching me the game also. I went to Calhoun Community College out of high school. I played there, but I got mononucleosis for a year and missed. And then because of my dad's eyesight, I moved back to Birmingham and played at Jefferson State. Went from Jefferson State to Jacksonville State, where I played under Rudy Abbott up there, who's one of the better baseball coaches in the state of Alabama. And then from Jacksonville State, then I played, like I said, 3 years of minor league baseball, and then became a graduate assistant at UAB, who probably Harry the Hat Walker influenced me more than anybody in the game of baseball as far as teaching me the game. I thought I knew a lot about baseball until I got around the hat, and I got my master's degree there and then went from there to Tate High School.
Wow. Harry the Hat Walker, the legendary coach UAB. What I've talked to a couple of your players, and they I gotta say that one of them said that you changed his life, actually literally changed his life, and that's Coach Greg Blackman. Called you the greatest coach in Tate history, and you were only there a few years, but you compiled 152 and 28 record at Tate. You won 2 state titles. Jay Bell, Travis Fryman. Coach, he started out a blaze of fire. And talk about those years at Tate and how you won 2 state titles. Did you draw on great Don Hudson's? Did he start the tradition there? You obviously were instrumental in Tate Aggies being a traditional powerhouse in baseball.
Well, I loved my 6 years at Tate High School. It was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do was to leave Tate. And it wasn't, I think coaching is coaching, regardless of what level it is. And it wasn't that I wanted to move up to the college ranks. It was, we had, my wife and I had a 1-year-old daughter, and for my parents and her parents to be able to see the daughter grow up, we moved from Pensacola. We moved up here to Hanceville, Coleman County area. But Tate High School was such tremendous memories that I'll never forget. And some of the guys you just named, Greg Blackman love Greg Blackman. I love my players.
Yeah.
Now, I've got the tradition of coaching like Bear Bryant in baseball, but he was a big influence as far as my coaching career goes. But you mentioned Greg, you mentioned Jay, you mentioned Travis, but there's a lot of guys, and we were able to win 2 state championships. The one year that we went 38-1, we won a national championship, and it was a great time. It was a lot of fun, and I try to influence young men. I try to not only in baseball, but have a positive influence in their life. Where one day when they do become fathers and husbands, then you hope that you can influence them in a way that they'll remember the great times, but also the difficult times, because the difficult times will make you a man.
Absolutely. The hard times will make you grow and make you better if you don't wilt. On behalf of Jay and Travis and Greg, I want to say thank you, Coach, for all that you did down here. You're old school. I heard from some of your players, you're old school, but you're fair and you love your players, just like Coach Bryant. Yeah, I think you coach baseball a lot like Coach Bryant coached football. You did the right things, you reinforced them, and you were tough on them without demeaning them. That's right. An important thing for a coach. Never demean your player, talk bad about them. You can joke around with them, and you can get on them. You can discipline them without being mean or anything. But Greg said you're a hitting coach genius. I said, what part was Coach Putman really good at? And he said, you were the best hitting coach you ever had. Talk about hitting, and maybe your dad was the impetus of turning you around and being able to swing both sides of the plate. I'm sure that helped you as a coach. Yes,
that was actually got me started, but then I was around some people that I got to give a lot of credit for. My year with the Royals, I was never a prospect, but Charlie Lau, who's renowned big league hitting coach for a lot of years, he would come down and work with the prospects in rookie ball down in Sarasota, and I was in his hip pocket. I was listening to everything that he said, and then he would help me also, but he was mainly down there to help the the prospects, guys that was potentially playing in the big leagues. And then Harry Walker was, like I said, was influential too. The probably Coach Abbott Rudy Abbott at Jacksonville probably helped me the most as far as with the mental part of the game. He was he could get you prepared in a way that I respected the way that he could get you prepared. And that's one thing that I've never tried to do is embarrass a player. Sometimes you have to coach different players different ways, but you don't ever want to embarrass a young man. And then when they leave that day, you hope that they've gotten a little bit better. But hitting is something that I take pride in. When my teams don't hit, I take it personal.
Right.
And,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
A lot of people say you don't take losses personally. Heck, I don't. I think it's a personal public failure to me when you get a loss. So I take it personal. Coach, you're a lot like me. You're more suspect than prospect, like I was. But you talked about Harry Walker and beginning year 35 with the Lions. You're inducted in the Alabama Junior College Hall of Fame. 91, the National Junior College Hall of Fame in 2006, Alabama Coaches Hall of Fame in 2009. Talk about those honors, Coach, and which one was, really special to you.
Well, the 4 Hall of Fames are all special for me. The one that in 2006, we went to the World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado, and I was inducted into the National Junior College Baseball Hall of Fame there. And it was special not only for everything that had been accomplished, but that team that year, we also were at the World Series. Mm-hmm. And so for them to be there that year also, but they're all very special. And like I said, I give credit to the good Lord for being able to do it for this long. And it's the great players that I've had that have played for me. And like I said, baseball is a game of memories, and actually sports is a game of memories because it keeps you going. I mean, I love it as much today as I've ever loved it. And people ask me, Coach, how long are you going to do it? Well, I love it. I mean, I love getting up every day and going to the field. I love every day instructing guys.
Yeah.
Is it more difficult this day and time? Yes, it is. I'll be honest, but you try to find the guys that can apply what you're teaching without having to apply every single day. Once you coach it and you teach them, hopefully they'll get it.
Right. Yeah. That's you just don't mess with happiness. I guess you're happy doing it and you're capable of doing it. Do it. 1982, you completed your bachelor's degree at Alabama. It was Coach Bryant's last year. But we had a pretty good baseball team. I remember going and watching Craig Shipley and Dave Magadan and Hershiser and those guys. We actually, I think, lost to Texas in the finals 83 to Roger Clemens, I think, mowed us down. But did you go and sneak and watch some of that baseball, those good Bama baseball teams? Yeah,
when I got through playing, and went back to went to Alabama. My wife had a year before she was a Crimsonette down there, and we were getting married and in 1980, and but those guys you named, and then Bobby Pierce, we became very, very close friends. I used to throw a lot of batting practice to him and Shipley, and
did you?
Yeah, I used to hang around those guys. Barry Schallenberger was the coach there, and considered being a graduate assistant there because we had talked about it. And but I needed to get with someone that the UAB program was not as established as Alabama was, but Harry Walker was. And I wanted to get under someone that I thought I knew the game until I got with him. And then when I got with him, like I said, he was as influential as anyone as far as the success that I might have had.
Coach, some of your players, I don't know if you coach these guys, but Mark and Sky Madison, Stevie Minton, Keith Leonard, did he play? Any of those guys play for you at Tate?
Yeah, the Madisons were a little bit before me. Keith was, Keith became, he played before me, but then he later became the coach at Tate.
Yeah.
And, and I was, I was, he had success too. And then, and then Greg took over. And like I said, I keep up with Tate. I keep up with him in all the sports because, like I said, my time there was just tremendous. And we went back, a few months ago for the 40-year anniversary of the '84 national championship team, and it was something that I'll always remember. It was a great afternoon being around some of those guys.
Wow, you guys just had a reunion. Oh my gosh. Coach, you got a lot of players from Tate actually when you got into college coaching. That's how you built some of your program with this area's great baseball tradition. Talk a little bit about getting some of the guys from here.
Yeah, when I left here, I told the guys that were still at Tate that I would hope they'd consider coming up to Hanceville and playing for me. Mm-hmm. And our program up here was when I got here, it was a cow pasture. We didn't have dugouts. They were 7-47 the year before, and 17-73 the 2 years. So I knew it was going to be a challenge, but you had to get players that were from programs that had success.
Right.
Because instead of having to teach them just the game, they already knew how to win because they were, and I knew that my Tate players were. So I brought up Jeremy Hunt, and I brought up Scott Davidson, and I brought up some other guys from around the Pensacola area that had gone to Woodham and Washington and Pine Forest. And I brought those guys up here. And the first year we went 34-13 with 3 pitchers. And
wow.
We almost won the state championship, but then it took 3 years. And then we won the state championship and went to the World Series. And that was a great team. We were, I think, 48-16 with that team.
Holy cow, Coach, you turned it around quickly, man. The culture changed, everything changed. How many Division I athletic directors were knocking on your door? I mean, they'd have to be idiots not to. Did you ever have the opportunity to go up to a Division I head coaching job?
I've had 4 or 5 different opportunities, and this is a great place up here to live. Coleman is a safe place, and I thought about it. I had UAB, Jacksonville State. I had in-state, and then there was some up from out of state. And one of the hardest decisions was I'd been up here for 1 year, and Pensacola State called. And my wife and I talked about it, and we just decided because I wanted to be loyal to the players that I had recruited. Because I recruited really, really hard to bring in guys for the second year, because the first year it was, even though we won a lot of games, I recruited really hard really for the second year, because when I took the job, it was in July. And so school was starting in about a month. But I've had opportunities, but I've decided that, that I was just going to stay here, and try to win a national championship.
I watched your podcast you had with Kevin Perkins, one of your former players at Tate, Perk, and you talked about how to run a practice and how to run a detailed practice, minute to minute. And how do you balance fundamentals and situational baseball in time and practice? Does it depend on your opponent or what the guys are doing in games? Who taught you how to balance fundamentals and situational baseball, Coach?
I got a lot of that from spring training when I was with the Padres. I organized. It was out in Yuma, Arizona, and I got a lot of that, and also from Harry Walker. And practices, you can't just show up. In practices, you want to get better each day, and you can't get a lot better, but you can get a little better every single day. It doesn't matter if it's in flexibility, if it's in arm strength, but in all phases of the game. So our practice is I do a practice schedule each day, and it's posted so the guys know exactly what we're going to do. There's no time on it because in junior college, there's no limit as far as time that you can spend. But it's got to be organized, because if you're not disciplined and you're not organized, then your team won't be. And and I got a lot of that from Coach Bryant. I used to go out and look through the fence on the practice field, and there'd always be somebody come over there, and they finally got used to me being over there because I'd sit on my bicycle and watch practices. And they finally got to the point where he's back again, and he's not from Tennessee or Auburn or any place. He loves Alabama football. So
wow.
But it
wow.
was a lot of like I said, the practices have to be organized, and the guys got to keep. You can't just let them. They can't just be standing around. They got to be doing things the proper way.
Yep, you're absolutely right, Coach. That's how Coach Bryant learned to run his practices. He was stationed in Africa in World War II on duty. And if anybody has been a soldier or knows anything about it, 99.9% of the time it's just sitting around boring and 1% of chaos. But Coach Bryant was like over in Africa, and he saw these huge ant hills, and he noticed that no ant was ever watching another one work. That's right. So that's how he ran his practices.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
All right, Coach, you've sent almost 40 players to the pros. Name guys like Craig Kimbrell and Chad Smith, Terry Jones, Derek Holland, Graham Godfrey, on and on, those pitchers. Do you follow all your players, or like is your favorite Major League Baseball team because one of your players plays there?
Well, like I said, I love those guys, and I'm very, very thankful for being able to coach those guys because they made a lot of progress while they were here. And Craig Kimbrell, for example, no one recruited Craig Kimbrell but myself. And but because of his desire, because of his passion, and because of his tenacity on the mound, even when he was in high school, I wanted him, and then he developed, and now he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But all the guys, even the guys that are not in baseball that have played for me, I don't care if they're driving a truck or working in a factory or sales or whatever. I love to hear their success. Yeah. And but those guys that play baseball that you watch on TV, Derek Holland and those guys, Derek's retired now, but he had a very good professional big league success. Yeah. I love being around those guys and talking to them, and the guys at Tate like Jay and Travis. I talk to Jay quite often, talk to Travis some. Would like to talk to him more because he's a great he was a great young man then, and he's a great human being.
Oh, awesome, Coach! I'm so glad you keep in touch with them. You notice I over the last 13 years, my 13-year anniversary coming up this week on my show. I've interviewed a lot of great players, Hall of Fame players, and I ask them a lot of pick between talent and intangibles, and almost to the T, almost 10 out of 10 do not pick talent. They take intangibles. Things like you just mentioned, desire, passion, tenacity. If guys at a young age could understand how far those characteristics go, and you can't have just a talent. I've seen so many guys waste so much talent over the years. If that's the one thing that you could get across to your players is that, and I'm sure you still do that, Coach. But your assistant coaches, talk about your assistant coaches and how you guys try to spread that message to your players.
Right. Aaron Everett is my assistant coach now. He's my pitching coach, and he does a phenomenal job. And I've had good assistant coaches over the years, and I give them a lot of credit. But dealing with the players, they've got to understand each day that it's not always going to be fun. I mean, it's not going to be fun in the ninth inning. It's not going to be fun in the fourth quarter, unless you're able to overcome obstacles that allow you to have success. And right. And it's not always about. I always say I like to get players that hate to lose, but you have to put the work in to not to lose. Now, you don't play the game not to lose. You play the game, of course, to have success. But at the same time, I don't like the phrase that coaches use all the time. You have to do the little things, because there are no little things. If you don't get a bunt down, that's a big thing. It might cost you a ball game. If you don't hold a runner on first base, that's a big thing. So coaches, I try to tell them if I'm talking in groups of coaches or whatever, there are no little things. The little things are the ones that'll get you beat, and then they end up being big things.
Right. Right. Absolutely. You gotta get the message through to guys, like you just said, enjoy the grind. It's not going to be easy. I just posted something on Facebook about, Tommy Wilcox, the great Tommy Wilcox. Well, I sat around and I thought I had to hit Tommy Wilcox, Jeremiah Castile, Jim Bob Harris, Al Blue, Rocky Colburn, just guys, all guys that would take your head off if you didn't bring it on that very play. And those guys taught me the value of intensity. And it wasn't fun. Like you just said, you have to explain to the guy, hey, this isn't going to be a fun drill. You got to suck it up right here and go. But if you accept that grind and enjoy that heavy, hard grind, you've already got, most of it licked.
Right. And it's hard to find those kind of guys this day and time.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a shame that it's that way. I mean, it's, I like guys. I always say I like guys that are PhDs, poor, hungry, and driven. I mean, if you have those kind of guys, then you can they'll have a chance to be successful. And but it's hard to find those guys. But you just
is it getting harder, Coach? Is it getting a little bit harder to find those guys?
It's very much so. Yeah, very much so. It's and the reason is because they have too many other things to do. They have phones, iPad, they have all different kinds of things that they, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as, as long as I was working with a guy last summer that he was wanting to show me that he could hit, and he wasn't on the team, and I was throwing to him in the batting cage, and about every 10 pitches, he said, "Hold up just a minute, Coach." He was going to his phone. And he did it twice. And on the second time, I said, "You go put that phone in that dugout." I said, "Because you're not going to play for me, but at the same time, you're not going to get on the phone. Who are you talking to?" He said, "Well, it's my girlfriend." And I said, "You put that phone away, because if I'm going to throw to you, then we're going to get something out of this. And you're going to show me what you can do." Right. So there's so many distractions. Yeah, they have so many distractions this day and time. And it hinders them not only in their athletic, what they're trying to do, but it hinders them in their academics, which I stress the academics very important too.
That reminds me, girlfriends will distract you if you let them. That's why Coach Brian didn't like O'Leary. Coach George O'Leary definitely didn't like girlfriends. Matter of fact, he told me 40 years ago, girls, your downfall. He's probably right about that.
You can't live with them, can't live without them.
That's right. Hey, who's your favorite college baseball team, and what coach or manager do you admire?
Well, the Wallace State is my favorite college team as far as what we're trying to accomplish. But I respect the teams that, I watch the College World Series, and I keep up with the 4-year schools also. And but the teams that really, really play hard, for example, I remember a few years ago, Coastal Carolina, they didn't have much talent on that team, but they did everything the correct way. They never missed a cutoff man. They run hard to first base. And but to pick any specific college baseball team, I probably don't have any one specific team, but I just like the coaches, to listen to the coaches and the players that every single day that they're playing, they're competing. And a lot of people, you always hear the phrase, you got to compete, you got to compete. Well, what does that mean? I mean, that doesn't mean that you just try. That means that in the trying process that you have success because of what you've done in the preparation.
Right.
Right. It's all about preparation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Coach. I'm glad you mentioned that. You're prepared. That's Coach Bryant was big on that, which I'm sure you understand. And preparation is everything. It doesn't matter if it's sports, it's critical. But let's take school, for example. You don't prepare for a test, you're not going to feel too good or going into it. It's not going to give you confidence. So preparation also gives athletes confidence, knowing that they're well prepared for any situation, and just have and they're reacting and not thinking about it, right? Because if you hesitate, you're too late.
Well, I tell guys for years, preparation is the key for success. If you don't prepare, you're going to get preparation, but it's going to be preparation H. And then, then you're in trouble.
Oh, this is great, Coach. Coach, we could go on. We could do this for a long time, Coach. I really appreciate you coming on, man. We're gonna have to do a part 2 or something.
We will. Yeah.
This was such a joy, man. I thank you for coming on, man. You enjoyed your 6 years at Tate. I enjoyed my 5 years at Tate, but I gotta say, you beat me in win percentage, Coach. You're 84% win. I was 75, so you got me locked up in there. But
Yeah.
Coach, man, it's such a joy, man. Enjoy the boys again. I know you got a busy fall schedule, and spring is right around the corner. But hey, Coach, thanks so much for joining the show, and we'll do it again soon.
Okay, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy. Roll Tide. Go Lions.
Roll Tide. Thank you.
See you, buddy. Man, that was great, Coach Randy Putman. What a coach he is. Holy macaroni, spaghetti, and pasta fazool. His win ratio overall is amazing. It was at Tate. It is at Wallace Community College. He's a great coach. Hope you learned something from that. Have a great sports weekend. Stay tuned for these important messages. Without these great sponsors, this just wouldn't be possible. Brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge. So long, everybody.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
Drive a little to save a lot on 170 Buicks and GMCs at Step 1 Buick GMC. Get savings up to $4,000 on new Buick Encores, $9,450 on new Buick Envisions, $7,000 on new GMC Yukon XLs, or up to $15,345 off on new Sierras. Only at Step 1 Buick GMC, Pensacola. Plus tax, tag, title, license, dealer processing fee expires 7/31/24 on select new 24 in-stock models. Discount off MSRP includes all incentives.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Barnes Heating and Air is a proud sponsor of Alabama football, serving the entire Pensacola community for over 50 years. Barnes Heating and Air is passionate about providing customers with world-class air conditioning and heating repairs, sales, and installation. Barnes Heating and Air is family-owned, insured, and committed to quality. For a free estimate, call 478-0141. Barnes Heating and Air is #1 in customer service with service calls 7 days a week. Call Barnes Heating and Air 478-0141 and roll Tide.